just found that they cannot get out. The ducks cannot get out, they're trapped. It's actually, it's nice that nature is cheering this place up. I mean, this is the National Police Memorial. I just came down here just to see if, and indeed, Keith Palmer is on there, fatally stabbed by a terrorist, Palace of Westminster, and then somebody else since then. Ducklings cannot get out. Why can't the world just be normal? I mean, God, waking up this morning I was thinking, oh, I'll have a look at the news, see what happens, and there's been a terrorist attack, or what is supposedly a terrorist attack. Manchester attack. The circumstances of this are really, really peculiar. I need to think more about it and tell you like later on what I've thought. But the one thing that was really evident on the Reddit post was that everyone was complaining about what they termed the alt-right movement of invading their thread, talking about Islamic extremism and how this proves that border control is necessary and all of this kind of stuff. That sort of thing just makes me think that, well, I mean, generally the way that it works is if an explosion is shocking and politically expedient, especially when children are hurt, like in the Oklahoma bombing, it has a massive political effect. I don't necessarily think that when you follow the money, you end up at self-radicalized Islamic extremists in their bedrooms planning things, but rather something more equivalent to like Gladio C or whatever. I don't know. The alt-right and the people like Tommy Robinson, for example, who I find a very peculiar person, they're going to try and frame this in one way, and then the mainstream media will frame it in another way, because the reality is somewhere in between them, I guess. And obviously there's going to be lots of people on the internet who are saying that it is completely fake. I'm just waiting for it now. It's one of the things I haven't really looked into yet, but apparently a lot of people are saying that it's fake. I'm not sure if that's really correct. I mean, I was reading this morning really long Reddit thread, which is just thousands and thousands of comments, including people who are giving their thoughts about what they'd seen and everything, which obviously you can't always trust, because anyone can put any comment on any of those things saying they've seen this or they've seen that. One of the things people were concentrating on actually was whether or not there was one explosion or two explosions. I think I actually have the answer to that, in that for some reason I believe that for many hours the BBC and various other news outlets were reporting that there were possibly two explosions, because people were saying that there were explosions at Victoria Station and also at the concert. But what a lot of the news crews didn't realise, and possibly it shows us that the BBC are just plagiarising other news crews, is that Manchester Victoria Station is underneath the stadium. So the report of two bombs, I think possibly was just one, but the news crews didn't quite get, because they are possibly too lazy to actually go down there or something, I don't know, that the two areas are exactly the same. Oh God, it's the guys on their boat. It's the army of cycle police. Interesting. Very interesting. Who benefits from the Manchester attack? Well, the Manchester police, I don't know if they're called the Manchester Metropolitan Police, I don't know, but the Manchester police have always had a pretty bad reputation in terms of them just being monstrous bullies and, just beating people up, like massive security guards basically. Whereas Manchester police now are being adored. They're like, it's like a massive PR boon for the Manchester police force. A massive boon for the security industry, because now every single bag is potentially an explosive. When you go to when people now go to pop concerts, it's probably going to end up very much like going to an airport, like the TSA. They all have to be scanned and all of that kind of stuff. Interesting, people were talking about how the BBC were repeating the same video over and over again of like lots of children running away and lots of screaming and stuff like that. But because presumably it was only a short clip and they wanted to maximize how much airtime they could get out of it, they'd slowed it down. So there was this image of children screaming and running away being played in slow motion again and again and again on their 24 news channel. Just lots of people commenting like, BBC, they just keep playing that clip, it's terrifying. God, what are they trying to do, scare us all? And the answer is, yeah, fear porn. Because think about what this does to the political scene, then well, it shows us something, doesn't it? Now, many hours later, I kind of feel like my brain is fried. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do the end of this video. I'll give it a go. The political effect. Now, imagine that there wasn't an explosion in Manchester. Imagine if none of that happened, and ask yourself, what would have been headline news today if none of it had ever happened? And the answer is Linton Crosby, the Wizard of Oz, the main magician of the magic circle of reputation management. Linton Crosby, Sir Linton Crosby, the guy who got Boris Johnson elected as mayor, the guy who got David Cameron elected as Prime Minister, and the guy who is attempting to get Theresa May elected Prime Minister, and the guy who actually invented the very phrase strong and stable for Theresa May. He would have been in the news today, probably quite high up on the agenda, embarrassing to the Conservative Party because he's been investigated for, I guess, essentially a form of fraud and tax evasion, and in that the Conservative Party's one of their main things is about stopping tax evasion. The fact that Theresa May's campaign manager is guilty of dodgy, magical shenanigans with his finances has been very embarrassing for the Conservative Party. And also, of course, what happened is that the campaigning was suspended. In respect for the dead, the campaigning for the national election was suspended, and obviously that amazingly plays into the Conservatives' hands, because they've done pretty much everything they can do that's physically possible to try and make campaigning against them completely illegal. So, I don't know. We'll watch this space, see how it transpires, but for now, it's, let's say, a bit weird.